What is up, everybody? We welcome you to Sports Shack. My name is Brandon Gerard Natali, here with my good buddy Dennis Tui. Today's Cinco de Mayo. Yesterday was May the 4th. Hope for our Star Wars fans out there. Now today's Cinco de Mayo. If anybody is drinking, please remember to make sure there is Uber, there is Lyft. Spend the money. Don't be cheap. Don't be cheap bastard. That was.
That was a little much. All right.
You know what? All right,
We
hold on.
were just talking about it before. No, just you can keep it rolling. We were talking about it before the episode started about how you gotta be, you gotta, be responsible. I forgot how we got on the topic of it, but
Because I was telling you about for connoisseur, I was working the mothers against drunk.
yeah.
That's how we
You're
got on.
working on
No, it's
mothers
crazy.
against
Yeah, no, like I said, we can talk about one thing and then it
drunk
goes.
driver. Yeah.
So for anybody selling Cinco de Mayo, I hope everybody. It was crazy. Yesterday was May the 4th. I don't know if you saw on the parkways. They actually had like the young Skywalker, like the young, like.
Yeah, I saw it on social media, but I didn't see it with my own eyes.
I actually did see it with my own eyes. I was shocked. I was with my other coworker, Marissa, great coworker. I was telling her, I was like, I actually saw these on social media. I didn't think they were real. Like I thought they were just like fabricated. No, like I was on the Seaford Oyster Bay, and I'm like, oh yeah, hey, buckle up, young Skywalker, and there was something else on there, but it was pretty cool. Especially, I've been back on my Star Wars fandom. Not that I wasn't, but ever since we saw Revenge of the Sith, like it's my my social media has been filled with Star Wars. Do I hate it? Nope. I love it. It's great. Thank you again for seeing that with me as always. Because I know you're big into Star Wars just like I am.
Huge. I'm huge into Star Wars. I downplay how big of a Star Wars fan I am.
I feel like you do. Yeah.
Yeah. It's same thing with like I just saw Thunderbolts the other day with a friend of mine. And
How it came out.
yeah, and like I kind of downplay how much I'm into the comic book movies and whatnot. I liked it. I think it's a little overrated, but like it's fine.
Really?
Yeah, it's not gonna change your life.
I heard it got like a good amount of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, but I thought it was like it's not gonna change your life.
Not gonna change.
It's pretty good. I don't know. It like
I see it. How was
something felt missing. Whatever.
How was Elaine?
She was good in it. Julia
Like,
Louis-Dreyfus.
like the Nick Fury for like the Thunderbolts.
Just watch the movie because no, not one bit.
She like I mean, I'm not saying she's fine.
No, you got to watch it. It's no.
All right,
she doesn't.
Or maybe she is. I don't know. I don't know what her character is. I don't know if her character fights or she's just assembling everybody. So I guess, like you said, I got to watch the movie.
Yeah, it's complicated because it changes quite a few times throughout the movie.
It actually is not to hate against the MCU, but I feel like they've saturated the heck out of the MCU. Like Marvel saturated the heck out of the MCU. There's so much content; it's hard to keep up. And there's some content I don't like because of some of the writing, some of the stuff.
My thing is like, you never had to watch all of it. That's how I always looked at it. People were like, it's too much for me to keep up with. It's like, you don't have to watch all of it. If a character shows up who you don't know who they are, they usually do a good job of explaining who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't watch Captain Marvel.
Actually,
knew who she was in the
in
like Infinity War and Endgame and whatnot. Like, I knew who she was. They explained it because the characters in universe don't know who she is either. So it makes sense. So I was like, all right, that's easy going. Granted, I also have a lot of background knowledge, so I know maybe easier than other people do, but never understood what people say.
Knowledge, yeah.
Right. But there is like a lot of stuff, like they definitely did oversaturate. Like when Echo came out, you know who was asking for Echo? You got it right. Nobody. Nothing. So, like, it's like some of it's a little ridiculous.
I give the credit. That's with the deaf actress, right?
Yeah, I'm not trying to hate. I'm just saying that, like,
I'm not saying that, no, but like, it's just
I'm just saying that, like, some of the stuff they had that like failed or whatever. It's like, oh, really? Didn't see this one coming, huh? Werewolf by Night wasn't a big hit, huh?
I wonder what's how Fantastic Four is going to play into the Avengers. Like, hopefully that doesn't flop. I feel like a lot of the Fantastic Four movies never really do too good.
I thought the first one was fine with Michael Chiklis. I don't like the voice of the new thing.
Yeah, you would
The
tell.
thing shouldn't the thing shouldn't sound like an accountant. I'm sorry.
You were telling me.
Yeah. Like
'Cause,
Michael Chiklis is the thing that sounded like the thing. It's like
he
find someone
right.
that sounds like a believable rock monster. You got it.
He looked like a believable rock monster. He did.
Well, the look of the new guy is fine, but it's the voice. It doesn't sound. The sound doesn't match the visual. The
I don't get
thing
the we're not getting
sounded, you see the thing. You see the big tough guy that's like, kind of like the back
clobbering
of
time.
Men Were Men superhero.
It's clobbering time.
It's clobbering time.
I don't forget the end of the Fantastic Four, the one with Michael B. Jordan, um, the guy
Didn't
that's in
watch it.
Top Gun. I love that guy. Miles
Miles
Teller.
Teller.
I love Miles Teller. The ending of it was so cheesy. Something I could have said. I tried to think of the name for like the Fantastic Four. They're like, it's like we need to have a name. I don't know if it was a thing or something like that. He's like, just randomly says like fantastic. He's like, that's it. Like that basically sums up how the movie was. If you gave me the ending, if you only showed me the ending scene of the movie without watching the whole movie, I basically could have told how the movie was.
Yeah. I didn't like the dialogue at Thunderbolts.
Okay,
It was lame.
it was lame.
Very cliche. Like the Marvel overly quippy dialogue, I'm just so out on.
Got you. Um,
It's like this isn't how people talk. Stop.
Robert
Stop
Reynolds.
doing it. Stop making things geared to the 30-year-olds who, you know,
Right.
I'm over it.
Mm.
Kind of like the same thing with Friends. I kind of got sick of it after a while. Like my brother used to watch it a lot, and I just watch it with him, and I was like, I need like 4 episodes in a row before I get sick of it. Now, with children, on the other hand, I could watch like all day. That show was absolutely rips, dude.
Okay. Oh, they weren't kidding with Spider. I'm just looking at the movies that are coming out. Looking at Thunderbolts, Clayface. That's interesting.
I forgot they're making a Clayface movie.
I still can't believe Robert Downey's coming back as Doctor Doom, though. That didn't really. I don't know.
Yeah,
We talked about this plenty. I wish it could have been more original with it.
yeah. Like we can get another actor. Nobody needs work.
Nobody's work. I could just imagine that they're gonna look at like whenever like Robert Downey comes in as Doctor Doom in the movie. Like I could just already picture the scene. How it's gonna be like I could see Thor being like, Tony. He's like,
Definitely.
who the hell's Tony? Like you know what I mean? Like I could already see. I could give me the script, hire me as a script writer. I could easily like come up with the scene right now. Like nah, like no, it's Tony, but I'm not Tony. Like no, Tony. What the hell you like? I could already see it. In Spider-Man: Brand New Day, I don't know if you saw Madam Web. I'm looking at the cast right now. They already have Zen. Oh wait, no, they got Dakota Johnson already. Charlie Cox is in it. Wait,
Daredevil.
Daredevil, yeah. Tom Hardy, Sadie. Okay, no, I guess because I feel like they're gonna mix Madam Web in now with this. That I'm excited to see though. Sadie Sink, good actress, was great in Stranger Things. I love Stranger Things.
I watched it.
Really, all right, that's another topic. But Star Wars though, Revenge of the Sith, great. I love it. I thank you for not getting too mad when I was saying some of the lines. It's crazy that there's some people clapping with the younglings when Anakin comes in.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm not shocked, but I was shocked. I'm like, people clapping. But definitely great seeing it in the theaters. It felt different. Maybe because I haven't seen it in a while, but seeing it in the movies, like it actually was like crazy.
What's your favorite scene in the movie?
That's a great question. It's tough. A lot of great scenes. Probably the fight battle, or that's tough. I gotta say when they're on Mustafar and they're fighting. I love the scene where like they're like they're fight like they're holding each other, and you see the lava come up.
Yeah, that's the exact. Anytime I think of that movie, that's the first thing I think of.
I said to you when that scene came on. I don't know if you heard me. It was loud, like, but I said to you right there and then, I was like, "This is art.
Yeah,
This is work. This is art." And there's a lot of just great scenes. Either that or Return of the Jedi, or Empire Strikes Back, or New Hope. All those movies. I'd say from episode 3 to episode 6. Those are my favorites, I guess.
you know what I think.
What?
And before we got to get to sports at some point.
Sure.
Return of the Jedi is better than A New Hope. I think A New Hope is super overrated.
I feel like
you ready for this? I think
Yeah.
I'd almost rather watch Attack of the Clones or Phantom Menace.
That's a huge hot take. Whoa.
I'm not saying they're better movies than A New Hope. I'm just saying that I'm more interested in the other two. I'm more fascinated by it. And it's probably because like they go to these different planets and visually I like it a lot. And like I respect A New Hope a lot. It's kind of like I respect Babe Ruth, but I also kind of know it's like if he was flying nowadays, he wouldn't be hitting
Right.
60 home runs a year. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like a lot of people with the New Hope, it was the beginning of it was the first ever anything
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
So like I don't
I'm not hating on it. I think people who hate on Return of the Jedi because of the Ewoks can
is that the only thing
do we-
people hate on it for? If that's the only thing,
One of the big things I've seen when people push back on A New Hope.
if that's the only
Return
thing
of the
they hate
Jedi.
on it for, that's crazy to me.
Honestly, the way I look at those people, it's like maybe Thanos was right. We don't need as many people running around. Saves
Okay.
resources. Think of the jobs it could open up if there's enough of them.
Okay. The
Kind
job.
of talk yourself into it. Yeah. Like we don't need those people in society that hate on Ewoks.
You know, Thanos will love you.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes in Revenge of the Sith was always when Palpatine announces the Empire and Padme says, and this is how democracy falls, with a thunderous applause.
There's so much with thousands with thunderous applause. There's so much.
Completely true. Look around at the world around you. It's happened so many times throughout history. It's happening today. That's just, it's the way it is. It's always what happens. So I like that they intertwine that so well.
There's a lot of
Age
scenes.
as well.
There's a lot of deleted scenes that I think they should have
yeah.
kept. They should have kept them in because I feel like it explains a lot of them, and explains a lot of the what goes on in the Star Wars saga. Like there's a scene where they're talking about the rebellion, the formation.
I was going to say that they definitely should have kept that.
They should have kept that in because then it also keeps Padme, because it shows that Padme wasn't for it. It explains like her impact she could have had on it. A lot of what ifs it could have had, and when people look at that, they're like, what if Padme didn't die? What she would have had in the rebellion? Would she have been with Darth Vader? Would she have, that would have been, and then she would have raised Luke and Leia. Would they have gone off? I feel like a lot of what ifs, a lot of make people question, but it definitely should have kept that scene in because that explains the whole rebellion, like how to form, how to become fruition. Maybe I guess George Lucas didn't think it was relevant to the movie.
You know why else they should have kept it?
What?
Later on in Mustafar, when Padme says, I don't even know you anymore, they keep going two totally different ways. Darth Vader's getting closer to the Emperor. She's pulling away from Palpatine. He tried to assassinate her, Palpatine.
Oh, yeah.
In Attack of the Clones. He tried to assassinate her a few times.
Yeah, and they've almost found out who it was, but then they couldn't fess up to people.
Yeah.
One actually did get assassinated, by Boba Fett, Jango Fett, actually. The first hitman that was hired, Jango Fett, wiped that person out. One last scene they should have kept in. I wish they would have showed where Yoda was going to the Dagobah system. They should have kept that in, because they don't really show what happened to him. Because they don't really, because you see Obi-Wan is in Tatooine, Senator Organa's in, he's with Leia, and his wife, starting a new family. I wish it would have gave him a proper ending where you kind of know where he is, but I don't know. I just thought it was a cool scene.
Yeah, it's cool, but that's one I didn't.
This is
I,
relevant.
the last scene in the movie was perfect, though.
Oh, it's great. It makes me cry. You know how much I love the Twin Stars song. It's just I don't
Yeah.
know. A lot of symbolization. Not to be too deep, but like it's just I don't know. I love it in New Hope. That's why I love that. That's my favorite scene in New Hope. I think when Luke goes out to the Twin Stars and he just looks up.
Twin Sons.
Yeah, Twin Suns, and it's a beautiful song, man. I love John Williams, man. Talent, beautiful work of art, great person. Imagine being in that orchestra. But yeah, I was with John Williams. I was in John Williams orchestra band. I thought
John
that was
Williams joint.
I thought that was him in Home Alone 2. Because in Home Alone 2, like where Kevin's looking at the orchestra,
It probably is.
I think it
I
is.
think he
Yeah,
made the
he
music.
does the writing for Home Alone too.
Definitely then.
Music for the music.
You know what
But
else he did? Oh, continue.
no. What did he do?
Harry Potter.
He did. Yes, he did Harry Potter. He did
Harry Potter,
Jaws.
Jaws. He's done everything.
Yeah, honestly, his work of art is never going to die. But so now getting into so great Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I gotta watch before we get into. I gotta watch Andor. It looks good.
I saw the first season. It's another one. Like it didn't change my life. The hype around it, I was like, "Oh wow, so this is gonna change my life." I was like, "No, I really don't."
I've seen a lot of people like hype it up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a contrarian by nature too. Like if the media props something up too much, then I'm already going in there like, "All right, let me see what this is about."
See what it's about, yeah.
So I'm very skeptical.
Got you.
And then like even if it's like okay, I'll just think it sucks because you told me it's gonna be perfect.
Right.
You know,
But I feel like that wraps up our Star Wars and
certainly we
Marvel.
want.
Hey,
So,
but I don't. Do I care? Nope. Because I feel like
yeah, I don't care.
we spent a decent amount of time, and now we gotta cut it out. Um, the playoffs, man. There's a lot going on. I feel bad for Damian Lillard. I actually watched a game where he actually I watched him tear his Achilles.
Yep.
He was on the ground and he didn't want to get up. I felt so bad because I remember looking at him, and I knew it was a bad look. It was not a good sign when he wasn't putting any weight on it. I was like, yep, this is not good. When they're carrying him off the court and he couldn't put any weight on it, I knew it was not a good sign. I didn't actually think he tore his Achilles. So I feel like in basketball, it's rare to tear. I feel like people tear their ACLs, but your Achilles. Am I wrong on that?
I don't know. I've never noticed it, but it's not one of those things that I would keep an eye on. Like if somebody tore their had to get Tommy John in basketball, I'd be like, whoa, that stands out to me. But like tearing ACLs and meniscus and Achilles and stuff like that, so many like weird like leg injuries, and I'm like, they're all kind of the same, you know. The way I view it, at least. I know doctors are like, oh, they're not all the same at all, Dennis. They're different this and different that. It's like, you're right. I'm wrong. I don't care. They all kind of like the players and whatnot, the injuries, they all kind of just blend together. It's like, oh, he's hurt. Something like injury. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
But
no,
he's one of my favorite players in the league. I hope it gets better, obviously. It sucks.
I
He
feel
just
like
came back from a blood clot and then he gets a torn Achilles. Oh,
I feel like if they trade Giannis, though, who else are they going to have? It depends now who they get in the Giannis trade. I was on the phone with my friends the other night, and he wants Giannis to come to the Knicks. Now I'm like, how are they going to pull that trade off when they got Karl Anthony Towns and they got
you would give up Karl Anthony Towns and probably Mikal Bridges.
He said the exact same thing. He said you would have to give up Bridges. Can you actually write this down in the chat actually this time?
Oh, yeah.
Like you just said, he actually would have. You actually would have to give up, Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns. I feel like Bridges. I feel like that wouldn't be too bad. Karl Anthony Towns. I feel like that would be a little rough because I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I like it. They gave up a lot for him in that trade, so I feel like you're just trading. Giving up on him after a year. I feel like I don't know. I don't know if that's be a smart move. Now then again, it is Giannis Antetokounmpo. But do they really need another big forward?
Oh, he's way better than anybody they have on the Knicks right now, Jalen Brunson included.
Right. I mean, but then again, who'd you have at center or forward? Now, is Towns a center or is he forward? I feel like he's a center.
You can use him either which way. You could always get another center.
It's true.
I mean, I'm sure people would say Mitchell Robinson, but he's so injury prone you can't rely around him. That's why they got Karl Anthony Towns in the first place.
Right. So
You can always get some free agent. I mean, Giannis, he can masquerade as a center. If the Knicks had picks to give up, I don't remember offhand what if they do or don't. Maybe you could try to talk them into giving you Bobby Portis too. That could kind of solve your big problem. Or you can maybe try to get Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis, but
that
you're probably asking for a lot more.
yeah, I feel like if you're asking for like a huge haul for if you're the Knicks, so you're not just getting Giannis, you're also getting like another center. Nothing against Mitch, but yeah, like you said, he's always anytime I always hear about Mitchell Robinson, it's always something on the injury report.
Mm.
Um, and I love Giannis. I think he's a great player, but like I said, it's just I wonder how many more star players the Knicks going to try to go through until they finally think they're ready they can get over the hump.
Well, they don't need more star players. They don't need Giannis. They need a bench.
Exactly.
They need a bench. Like
They
Boston's
need a
going
bench.
to annihilate them.
I
Boston's
don't know.
going to annihilate them.
I feel like it's going to be a tough
It's
series.
not going to be close.
You don't
It's going
think
to be
so?
close. It's going to be close when they tip the ball to start the game, and that's it. If Boston wins their 4 or 5, I'm not going to be shocked, and I don't think a lot of basketball people are either.
I could see it going to 5, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks stretched it to 2. I mean to 6. I don't know. I have faith in the Knicks. I don't know why. After watching the series against Detroit was not by far an easy given. It was not an easy given. It should have been an easy given, but the Detroit Pistons proved otherwise. When people thought they were one of the young up and coming teams that weren't going to do anything, they played the Knicks pretty good. Like they weren't no scrubs, as Stephen A. Smith would say it. And they challenged the Knicks, and they showed the Knicks that the Knicks showed that they weren't frauds. If they lost to the Pistons, Tom Tibbs would have been gone, and the Knicks would have been the most biggest frauds you could imagine in the NBA right now.
I disagree. I think the Knicks should have lost. I mean, I thought the Pistons were going to win ahead of time. They had Isaiah Stewart got injured, and they were without Jaden Ivey for the whole series. Ivey didn't play at all. Knicks were healthy, and they still got taken to 7 games.
6,
excuse me.
It should have gone to 7. It almost was going to go to 7.
It almost went to 7. They don't have the depth. I'll say I want the Knicks to beat the Celtics. I think Jalen Brunson's the best player in the series. I think Tatum's overrated. I think Jaylen Brown's a little overrated too. It's like, well, look at everything Jason Tatum's accomplished. You're right. He's accomplished a lot more than Jalen Brunson has. He also has an all-star team around him every single year. I mean, they got Drew Holiday for a bag of balls. Come on now. So that's like, all right, I'll give that edge to the Knicks in that regard. I don't know. After that, I'd give you Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown are better than anybody on the Knicks. If you wanted to tell me you'd rather have Drew Holiday over Karl Anthony Towns, I'm not going to push back at that too hard. But I would pick Karl Anthony Towns ahead of him, then Drew Holiday, then Derek White.
Yeah.
Then I would take OG Anunoby and Bridges, and then I'm probably taking the entire Celtics bench before I take another Knick.
I think with this series, I think the Knicks definitely have a better shot than they. Is it going to be easy? No. This is the Celtics, the reigning NBA champions, a powerhouse in the league, who the Knicks didn't beat in the regular season. So who am I to talk? But at the same time, compared to last year, the Knicks weren't. Was that?
Knicks swept them in the regular season last year.
Right, and they weren't healthy. But when it came to the postseason,
right,
they weren't healthy. They didn't have a lot of the players they didn't have. So now this year it's different. So I think, it's hopefully different this year than last year. Especially the team looks like they're meshing together. It's good chemistry. And, Tom Tibbs is a good playoff coach, but is he going to get you to the championship? That's a question that's going to be asked. But like I said, I think it's all depending on, like Josh Hart said it, confidence, physicality, mental toughness, and also health. The Knicks are healthy right now. I think they're showing a lot of grit, a lot of toughness, and just, and also trying to show some execution. So that's what's going to come down to. If they want to beat the Celtics, that's what's going to come down to. I feel the confidence, but like I said, they just got to execute. But we'll see. But Brunson is definitely him. He won most clutch player of the year for a reason, which I like how that's an award. That I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that can help the Knicks. The Knicks scored more points in the playoffs so far than the Celtics have, like more points per game. 3-point percentage is kind of similar. Well, Celtics are ranked fifth, Knicks are ranked seventh. The difference is 13%. Not 13%, but like yeah, no, I guess technically around there. Um like it doesn't look that drastic, but it actually means a lot. The difference is 37.8 to 36.5. So I guess like a 1 percentage point difference, 1.3 or something like that. Not a math guy.
Right.
Because I'm trying to like convert it in my head.
Oh, yeah.
But like so like there are certain things that they're similar with. The Magic were one of the best defensive ranked teams in the regular season. That's nothing against the Pistons, who are really good in the regular season as well. We know that. But like I keep saying, the Knicks, their bench was pretty non-existent for the playoffs. I mean, their per game stats, they used 9 players in the playoffs. The Knicks did. They have 4 players averaging double digits. No, it's 5. OG Anunoby's averaging 17.3, Brunson 31.5, obviously. Bridges 16.2, Towns 19.7, Josh Hart 11.8. Then their bench, 3.7 points per game from Mitchell Robinson. That is in 16 and a half minutes. You're not doing that on Al Horford, bud. Miles McBride, 3.8 points per game in 16 minutes. Cameron Payne, 3.7 points per game. That's about basically they're spotting him a 3-pointer off the bench in 8 minutes per game. And then Landry Shamet played 4 minutes and is averaging half a point. All right, so we'll go to the Celtics depth, which I just lost here. Their playoff stats are probably really good. They've used 14 players because of blowouts and whatnot. They have 5 players at double digits, but they have Al Horford at 7 points per game off the bench. Peyton Pritchard, 9 points per game off the bench. The other guys that are playing for them, like, not bad. Luke Cornett, 3.8. Sam Hauser, 3.2. That's not the best. But, I mean, that's still better than the best 2 players on the Knicks bench. So, basically what I'm saying is, yeah, they have the same amount of guys in double digits, but then after that, like I was saying to start the segment off, that's all Celtics.
Yeah.
That's the kind of things that matter. So I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah. Hey,
Peyton Pritchard in real time, like he's taking 4 threes a game and playing 26 minutes. He's averaging 50% from 3-point range. Again, and I don't think the Knicks bench is built to really stop a guy like that. That's what I'm really worried about. It's not. I know Jalen Brunson's going to get his. Karl Anthony Towns can be a little inconsistent, but I think ultimately he'll find a way to get his. Like there's the Knicks starting 5. I think they can match up okay with the Celtics starting 5, but after that, it's like, who are you going to rely on? You're putting a lot of faith in Deuce McBride. A lot of faith in Deuce McBride. Can Cameron Payne get hot for a little bit? If you're expecting Landry Shamet, I think in his career has never gotten out of the second round or something like that in the playoffs. If you're expecting him to make a difference for you, he was on my Suns, buddy. He was on my Suns. He's making a difference, all right. He's given his plus minus is probably going to be a minus 15 by the time he's off the court. So he'll make a difference. This is not going to be the one that you want.
Yeah, all right, I feel like that covers up the. We definitely.
I'm rooting for them. Go New York.
Go New York, go New York, go. One thing that shocks me, I'm looking at the scores. The Golden State Warriors, man, with the upset against the Houston Rockets in Game 7.
Yeah.
Now the Rockets were number 2. The number 7 upsetting.
Golden State was favored to win the series originally, though.
How come it went to 7?
I don't know. And they blew a 3-1 lead to get there. Golden State did. So it was a very close series. I don't know what happened in Game 7. I watched it. First of all, Jalen Green's a fraud. A 7-game series, 6 of which he had below double-digit points. He was, 3 for 8 yesterday from the field. He was also 2 points away from winning me $40. Anyway, we move on. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I watched the game. They couldn't buy a 3. They did a good job. They contained Steph Curry to start the game off. Like they did what they had to do defensively. They looked good. They just couldn't keep it.
All right. Well, good for them. No, good for them, though.
I
Who
mean,
do they
Golden
play?
State, like, congratulations. They're moving on. But Houston,
Now-
I mean, they threw the game away.
Now, who do they play next?
They're going to be going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Ooh. Now, I know that's something we forgot to talk about last week. I know we tried to talk about it last week, but Thursday was not a good night. LeBron James getting knocked out in 5, even with Luka Doncic. Now, a lot of people saying that, hey, LeBron is 40. It's hard when you're going to carry a team. A lot of people now, calming down now in the LeBron over MJ GOAT debate now. I feel like we talked about this plenty. But before we get into that, we need to definitely talk about the series and how much the Timberwolves were definitely for real, which I feel like we've all kind of known that after last year.
Well, Rudy Gobert played like Will Chamberlain in that game.
Yeah, I heard he was out rebounding players nonstop. He was out rebounding everybody.
Dude, he had 20 rebounds. He was unstoppable. He was the best player on the court. He was better than LeBron. He was better than Luka. He was better than Anthony Edwards. Wasn't even close. So, as much as people clown on Rudy Gobert and say he's overrated or whatever, well, in a series-deciding game, he was very clearly the best player on the court.
Definitely a great series. Especially, I feel like it's definitely shocking. I feel like a lot of people overhyped the Lakers as much.
Listen, I disagree. I think people keep asking is this an indictment on LeBron and stuff like that? That's not mixed history here. The reason why they lost is because the Mark Williams trade fell through. That's what happened. They didn't have a center. They had no rim protection. They were supposed to get Mark Williams from the Hornets. That trade fell through after the deadline had already passed. They ran out of moves. So it was medicals and stuff like that for the players involved that they didn't like. That's what fell through. And you're asking Maxi Kleber to be, hey, you're the only guy who knows how to play center on the roster. Can you go do something? It's Maxi Kleber. It's not Dikembe Mutombo. I mean, he's kind of a can. He's had good moments for the Mavericks over the years, Maxi Kleber, but, he's Maxi Kleber. So, the Rudy Gobert, this stuff was nuts in this one. How much did he have? 27 points, 24 rebounds. Dude, as a team, the Lakers only had 37 rebounds. That's insane. But that's really why they lost. I'm not even, when they lost the series, I was like, all right. I wanted them to win because I like Luka, LeBron, but I don't know. I think people are making a whole big to-do about nothing. It's like, yeah, but you also have Luka Doncic, and you also have, guys, they don't have a center.
Now, do you think
they had the like in Star Wars, how does one little exhaust pipe lead to the demise of the Death Star? It's kind of stupid when you think about it. That's what they were. It's yeah, that's really good. They don't have a center. They literally don't have a center on their roster, except Jackson Hayes, who is not good. It's like because JJ Redick is an inexperienced head coach. Do the Lakers need Doc Rivers? No. Stop. They didn't have a center on the roster. Like, let's not mince words here. Bet they wish they had Anthony Davis. Cue laugh track.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely, a big. Hopefully, Lakers regroup. It's definitely going to be interesting now because I feel like it's crazy because now everybody's talking about is this going to be LeBron's last year? Is he going to retire? Is he going to come back? That's definitely
Why would he retire? Stop! Where are they coming up? And it's not you. It's everybody. Where are you guys coming up with this crap? Why would he retire? So he doesn't have a full season with Luka? I mean, like I just said, they had a glaring issue on their roster, a very solvable issue. Get somebody who might know how to block a basketball. I think you can find a few. Get one of those on your team, and you could be fine. Is it me?
I think it is you.
I think you're right. I can't take it anymore. This is why I stopped watching the TV shows. They all suck. I don't care what network. They suck. Except that
when in doubt, you just watch Seinfeld. Yeah. I think it's...
Don't be ridiculous. I only watch Crossing Jordan.
I think it's... What else is crazy is the Pacers, who shocked everybody last year, going to the conference finals, even though they were a great team. They shocked again, beating the Cavs in game one.
They were favored. Cavs were favored by 8.5. The Pacers beat them 3 out of 4 times this season. Guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? Who could have saw this coming? They beat them 3 out of 4 times in the regular season. They're going to beat them by 9 points now? That doesn't make any sense. Did I think the Pacers were going to blow them out and dog walk them to end the fourth quarter? No. But watching it in real time, it's like I was what? One Jared Allen rebound away from winning $80. So like, and I had in that Pacers to cover because I was like 8.5 for a team that only lost. It's like both teams are healthy, right? No, actually the Cavaliers were without their second best player. And they're going to win by 9 points? What am I missing? I know that I can't be this good at predicting sports and knowing what's going on. How do I know that? Because none of these companies gave me a job when I applied. So it's either me or it's them. I don't get it. I don't get it. It was a good game to watch. It was fun. It was a fun watch. But then the fourth quarter, the Cavaliers, I mean, they went down and they just started trying to take bad threes. They couldn't get a good shot off. And the other thing I think people are failing to realize, the reputation for the Pacers is that they're not a good defensive team. They're a really good defensive team. I think people see small guard like Tyrese Halliburton, not a really who you would expect to be a dominant defensive center in Miles Turner because he's a floor spacing shooter. It's like he's kind of like Karl Anthony Towns, but a little worse on offense, but way better on defense. It's kind of the way he plays. So they have a guy who could protect the rim. He had how many blocks did he have in round one? I think he had like 6 or 7 in one game.
Around there.
I forget offhand, but he had some insane game that, I mean, he annihilated. Defensively, he was phenomenal. Let me look it up. But yeah, how many blocks per game does Miles Turner have in the playoffs so far? Do they even have that? They do. 13 blocks in 6 games. That's pretty good for a center who you don't expect to be a good rim protector. It's because they have other guys like Andrew Nembhard and Pascal Siakam and Benedict Mathurin. They have a good bench. They have a championship-winning head coach in Rick Carlisle. I get it. 2011 was a long time ago. But when you ask anybody who knows anything about basketball, what's the most impressive championship win ever? 2011 Mavericks, 1994 Rockets, 1995 Rockets. Those are always the three people talk about for a reason. So they know what they're doing. This team is more experienced now. They're without Ben Mathurin last year off the bench. Obi Toppin, good 3-point, specialist, 3-and-D guy, who's also a really good dunker. We know that. Kind of profiling as like a young Aaron Gordon type for what he does for the Nuggets. They look good. They look really good. I mean, I follow a Bill Simmons, who's a big Celtics fan, obviously, and he's the guy who wrote the book of basketball and everything like that. So when I get my basketball information, that's where I go to. And he was saying, I'm way more, as a Celtics fan, I'm way more nervous about the Pacers than I am about the Cavaliers or the Knicks. I was like, all right, that means something to me. This guy's been a season ticket holder since the 70s. He's watched all the Celtics games. All right, I'll take his word for it. Then I started looking into the data and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, the Pacers are really good. So I'm not too surprised by this. I will say that with 14 straight series openers now, or 13 straight, Donovan Mitchell has more 30-point games to open up a playoff series than Michael Jordan. He passed his record last night. That's pretty interesting. So Donovan Mitchell, excellent playoff performer. I feel like when either of the tandem of Jared Allen or Evan Mobley is doing really good, the other one's struggling a little bit. Jared Allen got 12 points last night, only had 5 rebounds. You usually expect a little more out of him. Both teams were making a lot of shots early, so there weren't too many misses. But, Evan Mobley played very well last night. But I feel like when both of them are firing on all cylinders, they do way better. Mobley had 20 and 10. Allen had 12 and 5. Yeah, I got it right.
Mm.
So, but one thing that stood out to me, I mean, if we want to talk about the biggest reason why the Cavaliers lost, Donovan Mitchell 1 for 11 from 3. That explains it. The rest of the team was 8 for 27. So I guess you guys at home could do the math there. Meanwhile, the Pacers as a team shot 19 for 36 from 3. Well, in today's day and age, that's all you need to know. The 4 players on the Pacers had 15 or more points. 6 players, had 10 or more points.
Okay. All right, but in total, I think any expectations for tonight's games?
All right, so tonight we have the Knicks at Celtics. I'm going to miss that, sadly. And Denver at Oklahoma City. I might catch the tail end of Knicks Celtics, but probably not. Denver at Oklahoma City Thunder on TNT. I think the home team's going to win both of them.
Okay.
I think 10 points. They're giving Boston and OKC 10 points each to win. I think that's a little high.
How come?
Well, it's starting a series. It's a little weird.
It's true.
I'm curious to see how Oklahoma City's going to deal with Jokic. I mean, Oklahoma City. Come on. They went up against the Memphis Grizzlies round 1 that fired their coach. Not even a week before the playoffs.
Right.
This is different. Now you could say, Dennis, is it really that different that Denver fired their coach 2 weeks before the playoffs started? Okay, I concede. But the players on the team still won a championship. Players on the team still played in a lot of big games and won a lot of big games. That's the difference between them and the Grizzlies. So, I don't know. I think that's a little high. I wouldn't be too surprised if the Nuggets give the Thunder a run for their money.
It's true.
So, but on the flip side, who's going to stop Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Fair point to make.
It's definitely been an interesting playoffs
I agree.
So far. I'm not gonna, but it's been entertaining. I feel like it's been fun. It's definitely been not as boring as I expected. Not like I mean, they've actually been like fun matchups to watch.
I like that it's not like 10 years ago when everybody knew who was going to win. It's like out of the West, we know it was going to be the Warriors, the Rockets. I'm thinking like when we were in high school. So that 2015 through 18. It's like it's going to be the Warriors, the Rockets, or the Spurs. Don't even worry about anybody else. I guess the Thunder for a year or two there. Then out of the East, it's going to be the Cavaliers. Nobody took anybody else seriously any year. Because of LeBron. Now it's like, all right, I like the Cavs, I like the Pacers, I like the Celtics. Knicks, I think it's just a tough draw. I think they would have matched up better than with the other two teams than the Celtics. Hopefully, wishful thinking. I'm rooting for them, but I think that's kind of pie in the sky. Then in the West, any of these teams could win, and I believe you. Warriors got championship pedigree. You have the Nuggets have championship pedigree. Timberwolves have some really good depth. And the Oklahoma City Thunder have excellent depth. Solid defense, great scoring, solid perimeter defending team. They're a really good 21st century team. So you got 7 teams that I could see being the champion. I could talk myself into it right now, opposed to what it was when we were in high school when it was 4 every year. 5, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
But yeah, I feel like that covers a lot of the NBA. I'm trying to think. The NHL was fun though last night. I don't know if you saw the Winnipeg Jets playing against the. Who was the team?
St. Louis Blues.
It was the Blues. It was a great game. Double. You can't get any better than that. Double overtime, Game 7. Playoff hockey. You can't get any better than that. Really, everybody on their feet. Literally everybody in Winnipeg and at the arena was on their feet. I can't imagine the crowd noise when the eruption coming from them.
Yeah, watching a Game 7 when the home team wins is always fun. And it's so much better than the Game 7s we got in the NBA. I know, it's like, Dennis, you were saying a couple weeks ago you thought the Clippers are going to win the championship. I know. You finally get a healthy Kawhi and you guys get blown out in Game 7. Wasn't even close. Sadly, I can't talk about it because I didn't watch a second of it.
I was watching. They got obliterated. I don't even think Jokic played a lot of it, too. It was just...
I'll look. I haven't even really looked at the box score.
Westbrook was dominant.
I'll humor myself, I suppose. That was Saturday.
I forgot how
126 to 121.
At one point, Denver was up 101 to 68.
No, the Clippers scored 35 in the fourth, so I guess I could kind of see that kind of run maybe happening.
No, legit.
You finally get a healthy Kawhi Leonard and a healthy James Harden at the same time, and this happens. And what Nick Batum, it's probably going to be his last year. I'm speechless. 8 for 27 from 3. That's probably what did it. Horrible. Huh. The worst plus minus on the Clippers was actually Kawhi Leonard, minus 33. I wouldn't have expected that. Jamal Murray didn't even their star players didn't even have a good game for the Nuggets. What happened?
I don't know, but Russell Westbrook, he played great. There's one point he got a lot of steals and a lot of
5.
Yeah, he had a lot of them. He was just on point, man. He was intercepting them like he was Deion Sanders. He was great. At one point when he dunked the rim, he was hanging on the rim so much he got a technical for it. That's how and he was energized, and he didn't even care because that's how amped and that's how exciting he was to watch, and getting the crowd into it excited. That's how much it was. It was pretty cool to watch.
What a weird game. I mean, it really just looks like the Clippers What was the rebounding totals? 46 to 36 with 5. How many steals as a team? 11 to 10. This is a weird box. This is one of the weirdest box scores I've ever had. Christian Braun had 21 points. Dude, what was this game? Wow. Okay. All right. It was a game.
Different was a game. Real quick though, I feel like let's dive into it. Shador Sanders.
Yes, we didn't talk about the draft.
We didn't get to talk about the draft, even though it was going to be a week and a half ago, but I feel like it's still kind of a little bit relevant. I still got to write my Jets article about the draft, like how it impacted them. I thought the Jets had a great draft. I know our friend Chris, he's a Jet hater. I try not to listen to him, but I thought the Jets had a great draft. Everyone's saying they have to go after the big name, the big player. No, they went for the need. Remember back in 97, actually, I know you know a lot of football. I'm not saying you don't, but I'm just trying to refresh your memory. Back in 1997,
I don't know a lot of football.
or I think it was
The
96.
history of football, I know nothing about.
With me, I'm like, I forgot what they said. Some of the hockey, like there's anyway, no, because there was I remember I was at an Islander game with my dad, and there was a savant. No, is it savant? I forgot what it was called. A Naven of hockey. There's the Naven of hockey was there, where the guy knew everything about hockey. That's what my dad told me. When me and my dad went to an Islander game last year, the Naven of hockey was at the Islander game we were at, where he knows everything about hockey. I guess I want to call myself a Naven. No, I just know a lot of football. You know me. That's
It
my.
seems like you could have used the word savant too if you wanted.
I'm the savant of history when it comes to football. You know me. It's my forte. So back in '96, when the Ravens were making their first ever pick in the Baltimore Ravens organization because they moved from Cleveland, people were telling them they got to take the Lawrence Phillips, starstruck player, can't miss prospect, huge talent, big miss if you don't take him. And no, they said we're going to take the best player available for need, and just best player. And what was I going to say? And they ended up taking Jonathan. That player they ended up taking was Jonathan Ogden, one of the best left tackles ever, and played 11 years and it was in the Hall of Fame within the next 5 years after he retired. So I'm not saying Membu's going to be Jonathan Ogden, and I'm not trying to hate Tyler Warren, and I'm not saying he's a Lawrence Phillips. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that I think the best thing the Jets did was go for the need instead of, and getting the best player available at that position. Not the was tight end a need? Sure, but taking a tight end that high, I think would have been a little risky, and especially for the Jets, which are known for they're not an organization known for their tight ends. They're known for their defense. They're definitely not known for their quarterbacks, and they're known for definitely having some star-struck receivers, in my opinion. But they're definitely known for the defense. So I like the Membu pick. It solidifies the offensive line too. So for Chris to hit on it too, I think that's laughable. What are you going to say? It looks like you're about to say something.
First of all, what you said, when I think of the Jets, they're not known for their tight end. Could be why they haven't won since 1967. Moving on. I like the pick. Or is it 69 you guys won the Super Bowl?
It was.
I like the pick. Your offensive line sucks. Take the offensive lineman. Don't overthink it. Yeah, you're right.
Last year.
Every single other person I've seen say, even people that like aren't Jet fans online, like national media people, like Jets had a really good draft. I'll take their word for it. I don't. I never read too much into the drafts. I never do in any sport. The only times I really do read into it when I actually know what I'm talking about, and I'm usually right. Like when I said Tyrese Halliburton would have been a can't miss prospect for Phoenix, and then we took Jalen Smith, who I don't even think is in the NBA anymore. Right. So I defer to the experts. If I know a guy and like I really like looked into him and whatnot, and my team gets him in football, I'm stoked. And thankfully my Giants did with one of the players. No, not a first round pick, but with the running back, Brian Scatterbo. How did he
Cam,
fall to us?
Cam Scatterboo.
Oh, I was thinking Brian Scalabrine. I'm sorry. Cam Scatterbo.
Wow,
I'm
Brian Scalabrine.
so stoked to see that guy, man. I'm gonna buy his jersey. Why not?
No,
But
let me tell you something. Like I
I'm
said,
amped.
no, I got to tell you, the
You
Giants.
guys
Like
have
I
a good
said,
draft too. You should be happy.
no, like I said, I'm not a Giant hater. I don't hate the Giants. I hate the fans because you know me, Dennis. You know the interactions I've had with fans, close buddies of ours who tease me all the time about my Jets.
You let a couple of bad apples ruin a bunch.
It's multiple bad apples. It's not just some, and it's like I said. That's why I never give any trauma to, like I never argue with kids with sports. Like I'm not like no, I like no like
No, I bully them.
like I joke
I pick on
around.
kids. I pick on kids for picking the wrong team. If I see a little kid in a Met jersey, I push him down a bit.
You're not take candy from a baby. Take
I
from a
push the whole carriage over. Go Yanks.
But like I never want to give that trauma to like I don't want to be cruel to like I know we've been over this. So like I'm not gonna that's kind of how I felt when like I remember I've had bad moments when I was a kid. It traumatizes you. And you don't forget that. So I never forget the moments Giants fans have teased me or Yankee fans. So trust me, I know you've had moments with your Met fans. I've had moments with my against with Yankee fans.
Fan base.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have my rights. I have my rights. But
You're a Met fan. You don't.
But let me tell you something. But either way, I'm rambling a little bit. But like I said, I don't hate the Giants. I respect the Giants. And let me tell you, I thought they had a great draft. Now, Abdul Carter, what a beast, what a stud. I hope he's not going to turn into a Vernon Goldston. Not saying he is a Vernon Goldston, but just looking at the tape and just seeing the stats, 23 and a half tackles for loss, Dennis. That's huge. That's huge. And I just looking at the tape, he just looks like a beast.
I'll tell you one thing I don't like about him. Stop trying to get jersey numbers from our retired players. Why do we do this in sports? Make your own number your own number.
Right.
Make your own number your own number.
He should be 11.
Like, what are we doing?
He should be 11. I could see the Giants 11 blue. I could see that rocking it. I don't have a problem with
Isn't that Phil Simms' number?
That was. Okay, so no, he can't be that.
He tried to get Phil Simms' jersey, and Phil Simms, like, at first, I didn't really care, but my family was like, no, it's your legacy, man. That's yours. They retired it for a reason. So he said, I got outvoted by my family. People are like, well, it's his number. It's like, guys, get over yourselves. Oh,
I think he definitely
people
should.
Getting up in a tizzy about a jersey number. Grow up. As I get up in a tizzy about a jersey number.
He definitely should, I think, try to get his own jersey, though.
Yeah. Make your own number your own number.
So that I agree with Lawrence Taylor and also Phil Simms saying, no, like, this is our jersey.
Away.
Especially Lawrence Taylor. There's no other 56 in the Giants blue. Like, when you think of 56, that's Lawrence Taylor, whether you're a Giant fan or not. And so is a Phil Simms. Yeah, I think that's a little bit much to ask, especially he's one of the best quarterbacks in that organization. But yeah, so I like the Jackson Dart. I like Jackson Dart. I think he's definitely. I like the profile. I think he's a great player in college. A lot of people are going to tell me otherwise, but I think he's got the personality, and I think he definitely could handle the New York media. Hopefully, he's got some good people on his side directing him how to manage things. I think but it's going to fail if it all depends how this regime goes. Because I wasn't for the Giants taking a quarterback. Because, like I said, Joe Shane and Brian DeBall, their seat is kind of hot right now. It's kind of boiling like lava chicken. Like la 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 la, like la 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 chicken, lava chicken. See it, Minecraft. But so if they're fired within the next year, it's going to look like a bad pick because the next regime that's going to come in, they're going to want no part of that Jackson Dart because that's not their player, that's not their pick. So it's like what happened with Justin Fields, what's going on with Caleb Williams. This is why a lot of the quarterbacks don't succeed, right? Because changing up a system, new regime, it's just a lot. So it's just a recipe. It's almost like setting a recipe for disaster. But I like Russell Wilson. I think he's a quarterback that's going to what? He's going to win you games. He's not going to have. He's going to put up some decent stats. But what is he going to do? He's going to help you win games. Now, at the end of the season last year with the Steelers, they were 10-4, and ended up going. They were 10-3, and ended up going 10-7, losing within the first round. That's a whole nother story. But I still think he's a great quarterback. Should he have left Seattle? My opinion, no. But that's another topic. So, but I like the Cam Scatterbo pick. I thought it was a great pick. I like him as a great running back. Watching him in the bowl game last year with Arizona State, I thought he was a stud. So I thought that was a great pick. I think Joe Shane cooked. I think he cooked.
Scottaboo's a bull. You know who he reminds me of? I don't throw this around lightly, Brandon.
What?
One of my favorite players as a kid. My favorite running back.
Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah. I was gonna say second favorite, maybe. I was a big Danny Woodhead fan.
Wow, Danny Woodhead. Yeah.
Dude, Brandon Jacobs. That's when I see him. I see Brandon Jacobs. Dude.
Okay.
And that guy was a bull in a china shop. Love that guy, dude. Love Brandon Jacobs. I still do. I still do. If I saw Brandon Jacobs today, you know what I'd say to him? Dude, big fan. Fist bump? No? All right, fine. And I'll just walk away. That's probably how it will go. But still fan. But like, I see this kid. I like it. I like it. Jack Dart. I'm not big on the name. Not big on the
Jackson
name.
Darth Vader.
Jackson Dart. Sounds fake. The faker the name sounds in sports, the more it sounds like a made for Disney kind of a name. The more I'm out on it.
I can see it.
And it's Jackson, Jaxson. Really? We're doing this now. But I mean, we'll see. It is a big college football name, though. Oh, yeah, I don't like that. You know who didn't have a good draft?
Who's that?
The Cleveland Browns. How many quarterbacks do they got, Baba? How many quarterbacks do they got?
I don't know what goes on with Cleveland, man. I think it's
going on.
I don't know what they're doing.
They need to go to the Golden Corral out there in Cleveland that I went to. Sit down, think it over, rehash a couple of things, get back on the horse, reset yourself, because that's not working out, brother.
I think whatever. It's amazing because I feel like Jimmy Haslam doesn't learn from his mistakes. He owns up to them. He owns up to them, but he doesn't admit to them. Like at least Woody Johnson could. Like I'm not trying to back up Woody Johnson, but it took him finally 25 years to kind of say like, hey, yes, I need to be a better owner, and I feel like he's somewhat doing a little bit of a better job letting Aaron Glenn, Darren Muji do their thing. We'll see. Less talk, more action. That's been my motto of the year. With Jimmy Haslam, he came out and said, hey, the Deshaun Watson thing, the trade, that was on me. That was on me. But yet, you don't think there definitely was something involved with him saying, like, hey, I know you guys took a quarterback, but maybe you should take Shedeur Sanders. He's like, you don't think maybe he got involved in that? Looking at Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, they looked so miserable with the pick. I remember they showed the war room. They did not, like you see the GMs and scouts and coaches with teams dabbing each other up, congratulating, hey, we made a great pick. No, it was utter silence, sitting at the table. They looked miserable. So now they got 5 quarterbacks. What are you going to do with 5 quarterbacks? It's annoying because they never seem to learn from their mistakes. What are you going to do with Shedeur Sanders? The Browns have a lot of headache and a lot of baggage and chaos. They're a whole circus, just like the Jets. Do they not learn? It's annoying, infuriating me right now just talking about this because you already drafted a quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, who's a great guy, who broke a lot of records in college. So why the hell did you take Shedeur Sanders then? What was the need? It just made no sense. So I'm just hoping that Jimmy Haslam didn't get involved with that because it sure looked like Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. Andrew Perry and Kevin Stefanski looks like they weren't a part of that. So I don't know. I feel like with the Shedeur Sanders hype, but back to the Browns because I know you said they had a bad draft with Travis Hunter. I don't know. I mean, hey, it's never a bad thing when you get a first-round pick for the next year. I like Mason Graham. It's a good pairing with Myles Garrett. Hopefully, Browns could turn him into a stud. a lot of people are going to hate on the. I feel like the Browns are getting a lot of hate because a lot of people saying they missed out on a generational talent. Like I feel like when they're going to look back on it, people are going to say like, "Hey, like this is another Browns draft mistake, not being able to take Travis Hunter." But I don't know. We'll see. I think it's good when they definitely take when they took they get the first round pick, and I still thought Mason Graham was a good pick. But we'll see. We'll see down the line. Now to shoot a sand, we're on. You're not going to get your take though. What do you think of my rant just now?
Yeah, I mean, it made total sense. Uh, Like what you said made total sense. It's because they have 5 quarterbacks. Only one can play at a time, unless maybe they train Shador Sanders in another position.
Well, you know that Deshaun Watson's not going to play. He's out for the year. Rupturing his Achilles, and after what's been going on with him, I don't know if he's
Yeah, he's never going to play for them again. We know
he's
that.
he might not play. Yeah, but that's another
We
topic.
know that's not happening.
So
But
now
you
you
already
got
have Joe Flacco. You have this guy. You have Kenny Pickett. All right, I get. Maybe you want 3, but like 4 of them, or like maybe 3 and a rookie to kind of like develop, because like you need the emergency guy that could go in case the other 2 are hurt. We saw it not this past season, but the season beforehand, where it seemed like every quarterback was dropping like flies. I get it, but I don't get it. I get having, like I said, like maybe 3 or 4, but like 2 rookies. I don't get it, man.
We'll see, but real quick and we'll wrap it up. But what should do with Sanders? I feel like I said, I know I came on here last week and I said like I think it's great that he took advantage of the opportunity playing for his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Realizing about I also didn't realize a lot of the things that were going on with Sanders, behind the scenes and especially on camera, talking trash to players after games. I remember one against Colorado State. I remember he was getting into it with a player. He got into it one time with a ball boy, I think, on the sideline. Um, from what I heard, he had terrible job interviews with the Giants. He's getting pissed at Brian Daboll for basically not correct, but basically like giving the wrong, when he gave the wrong answers. He got pissed at Brian Daboll when he was given the questions. If you know what I'm trying to say, like he basically, the interviews didn't go well. The interviews, I guess, was so bad that owners told their teams take him completely off the draft board. I don't want him.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of the saying that like Shador say, Dion saying like, hey, like Shador's gonna make the decision where he's gonna go. There definitely was some things I guess that teams were looking at him. They're like, hey, we don't think he's a fit for the team. Shador Sanders definitely got a humbling of a lifetime during this draft. Now, do I think the prank call that he got was very unprofessional, rude, and just awful? Yes, I definitely wasn't for that at all. Especially nobody was. I felt bad just listening to that, and the fact that and there were kids that did it. Hopefully, you live and you learn. Definitely irresponsible and mature.
Yeah.
I think I think it's happened before though. I want to make the record clear. Cooper DeJean got prank called last year. No one cared. So I think the fact that people are making a big deal out of it now, which kind of shocks me. That's what I think is shocked. Like people should have made a big deal out of it last year with Cooper DeJean too. I think it's more of a big deal now because like this is Shador Sanders. Shador Sanders is more of a bigger spotlight, I guess. What was going on with him through the draft? He was supposed to be a top 5 pick, ends up sliding to day 3. Probably the biggest draft slide in NFL history. And then thinking he was going to get the call day 2. No, it was some kids pranking him. Like, definitely
why are you even giving his number out to your stupid kid? How much of a dumbass is the coach? Or GM or whoever it was. I forget who it was.
It was Jeff Ulbrich. It was the DC of the Falcons. I don't think he gave it. Something must have happened where the kids might have stole it. His son, Max Ulbrich, probably stole it. And
how stupid do you have to be? Well, the kid's a moron. It's like, well, they're dumb kids. Like, what do you expect them to do? Not be assholes? I don't understand it because when I was a kid, I was a good kid. I never got into trouble like outside of like my schoolwork, my grades. Like I never got into trouble. I was grounded too much to get into trouble. So like, I was literally Dennis the Menace. I was getting grounded all the time. Get grounded once for 8 months. But like, I couldn't like I can't rationalize it. I can't put myself in that position because like, hey, do you ever just think to yourself like, what good is going to come from this? Oh, I'm going to look like an asshole by literally everybody. And when I look back on this, I'm going to look like an asshole. Oh, here's an idea. I'm just not going to look like an asshole. I'm not going to do it. Oh, I did it anyway. I don't get it. I just, whatever. Shador,
Right.
hopefully, I mean, speaking of that, though, Shador, dude, clean up your act.
He definitely
Clean up
got a
your act.
humbling. He got a humbling of a lifetime.
Clean up your act. Everybody was saying on the football field he wasn't really much to write home about it either. If you're a Ryan Leaf type of a talent in college, maybe you could get away with being a bit of a tool for a little while. If you're not, they're not going to wait for you. Doesn't matter what your last name is.
I feel like definitely a lot of players, a lot of GMs and coaches. It's definitely people starting to learn from their mistakes, like from past draft mistakes.
Yeah.
Not saying Shador is going to be a Ryan Leaf or a Jamarcus Russell. We don't know
But
that.
what I'm saying is,
Right. But I know exactly what you're saying.
yeah, but what I'm saying is like it's way easier to talk yourself into this guy's a bust when you're acting like a dick.
No, it's just a personality needs to be different. 100%. Like,
Yeah.
can't just come in there thinking you're all that. And I love Deion Sanders and all that, but a lot of people have definitely haven't had it easy. He's had definitely, like I said, I know I talked about it a couple weeks ago. It's great that his father, had the opportunity to play for his father. Um, he made good out of it, but at the same time, personality's, not there. And also at the same time, looks like he kind of had it easy when and I think in the NFL, a lot of GMs, a lot of teams were kind of basically saying that to Shador Sanders and to the rest of to the NFL world, sports world, is that, this is not easy. Life is not easy. The NFL is not easy. Don't think you're going to come in here and you're just going to get everything handed to you just like that. That's kind of what it basically was. It was a big humbling. Do I sound right with that?
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. I do want to ask you real quick before I got to go because I do got to go.
Yeah.
Cam Ward. This is probably the least amount I've ever seen a 1-1 draft pick get talked about in the NFL. Cam Ward. Is he good for the Titans? Can he play? Can he play football?
He definitely could. Hopefully the Titans can handle him right. Maybe he's ready to play right now, like Jaden Daniels was last year. Some quarterbacks that come in the league right now and they play like studs. They play elite. Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud. Jaden Daniels, first player to come to mind. I think he's better than CJ Stroud. That's on the topic.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, but so he's the arm talent is there. He's got a rocket of an arm. He's built like an NFL quarterback too. So I give credit to the Titans because definitely was better than taking Will Levis, and I love Will Levis. But if you have an opportunity to upgrade at the position, you got to take advantage of it. So I like what the Titans did. I think he's built. I liked him in college. I thought he was great. I seen the tape. Hopefully the Titans can handle him right. I trust Brian Callahan.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it. Anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Sports Check, episode 20. Would you look at that? Thank you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Let's go Knicks. Thank you for tuning in to Sports Check. My name is Brandon G. Natali, along with Dennis Tui, and hope you guys have a great day.
You just said your middle name wrong.
What did I say?
You called yourself Brandon Jean Natali.
Brandon G.
Oh.
Maybe I said G.
What? How did this guy forget his middle name, dude?
Listen, we've been busy. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great day.
Yeah, we wrap it up.